Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the canyon. Welcome back to, I think it's a Quickview? The Quickview resides inside the Jumbled Thoughts Pavilion because we're testing another non-crawling tire again because we have to. We don't have any choice. I did not plan nor intend to test this tire at any point. But JConcepts, we love them. They make a compound. It's called green. Is it the best? It might not be the best in the universe, but in terms of the grand wheel of total available grip, JConcepts green is the it is also cheaper relative to other compounds. So, double advantage. We heart JConcepts green. JConcepts green is in all of the crawler tires, and we've tested, we're pretty sure, all of them. We might have missed a couple in, like, they also make this one in this size, and we haven't tested that one yet. Maybe. But I think we have all the Scorpios. We have all the Tusks except for 1.0, 1.3, and the 2.9 for SCX6, but we've tested all the other Tusks. So, someone said, are you going to test Fling Kings? And I was like, no. And they said, they're on sale. And I went, dang it. And then I went and looked, and they were $18 a pair. And I was like, dang it. So I ordered JConcepts Fling Kings. These are mud tires. 100%. But they made a mistake. They molded them in green. So this is a mud bog tire. But it's also JConcepts green. The lugs on these tires are 8 millimeters tall. They have a 2 millimeter thick carcass that has no ribbing and no belting, which means that on a tire that stands roughly, give or take, 120 millimeters tall, 20 millimeters of that is lug and carcass, meaning that the inside of the tire is 100 millimeters, is 4 inches across, on a tire that is basically a 475. You know what 475 means, right? That means it's a class 2. That means baseline gets them. They are also a little narrow. 44, perhaps. Very slabby on the sidewall. No side lug, unless you count that. Corner lug? Corner lug does a lot of work. 120 by 44 is weird. We tried, there's a whole, right up over here, there's a wall of inserts. We tried them all. First thing we try is the Tim Tin, which it made the sidewall, like actually the sidewall was out more at the bottom than it was at the top. Also, don't forget, they're 120, but they're only 100 millimeters on the inside. Most tires that are, say, 118s have 4 millimeters of lug and 2 millimeters of carcass. So they're taking 14 to 16 instead of 20. So where did we end up? We ended up with these. Oh, why did we end up with these? Because the stock foam looks like this when you take it out of the tire. And then it looks like this when you hit it with a heat gun. And it's not made for rock crawling. This is not medium, not medium hard. This is hard. This is every bit as hard as what would come in an RC four-wheel drive tire. I couldn't even heat gun all the wrinkles out. They are absolutely crammed inside those tires because they're basically 120 millimeters tall. And if you were going to run them in your bog hog, why would you run a single stage foam anyway? So I would think you would want something like, well, they're not going to like a huge amount of velocity, but you know what we're not going to give them? A huge amount of velocity. So I ended up throwing one in and then going, because the silicone is so soft, you get no wrinkle. They're like a near perfect fit. Do I think we're going to get some sort of outstanding performance out of it? No. We're here for a couple of reasons. The first one is some sort of fixation, borderline insanity, in which we have to test all of them. We don't have a choice. Green dot to the inside. These are green. I want to say this closes the book on 1.9 JConcepts greens until they come out with something else. I just sit here every day waiting for 22LP megalithics. That's what I'm waiting for. Until then, we're going to catch them all. This is a 1.9 Fling King in green. They should have just made it in... I always get them mixed up. I want to say that the like Stampede tire size or something you'd put on your Arma. I want to say those are blue compound. It might be blue. They could have just made these in blue, or is it yellow? They have a whole chart. There's a crazy chart. It's got so many colors on it. They could have just made them in some other color, and they would have been safe from our insanity. These are definitely green. I had a bit of a struggle. It's the struggle of getting the rings into the top. I think we might have it. Nope. We're out on the front. They are so sticky that I basically categorize anything JConcepts green as bubble juice mandatory. They will just fight you. They'll fight you a little bit with the bubble juice. And life is too short to spend huge amounts of time mounting tires. We're supposed to be running tires. This is also maybe, if you're here for a special thing. This is maybe the last hurrah, the last huzzah of this particular set. One of my favorites set of kit bashed wheels, because they have been, the Test 105s have been assembled, disassembled, and reassembled so many times that the holes in the rims are starting to strip out a little bit. When you buy what is essentially a $30 set of wheels, they're not designed. They never intended you to put them together and take them apart 50 times. But go back and look at the Quickview thumbnails, everybody, and tell me how many times you see these. It's going to be a lot. They've been here a while. The wheels, I can only find, the only thing that was on Prime at the time from Amazon were orange wheels with black rings, and I went, what? And then I found a set of deep 105s that I was looking for, and they only came in black wheels with orange rings, and I said, what? So I ordered both. I made a set of all black deeps, and I made a set of all, it's not gold, I made a set of all orange 1.9s, and here they are. Now, mounted on the insert, we are now about 124, almost 125, which could go either way. Yes, it's above 4 3/4. It's going to make a bunch of noise on him anyway. I think it's JConcepts green. It's just, we're down to about 43. Actually, they kind of went this way and this way. They're going on baseline. Baseline has to do this kind of thing. Such is his burden to bear. I don't think they're big enough to go into a Class 3 test. There's a space in between the universes in which we have slightly bigger than a Class 2. The number of tires that fall between 4.75 and 5 inches is not a big number of tires. There's a couple 4.8s out there. Proline Trepidors, like a 4.8. These look ridiculous. I love it. Now, we got to catch them all. So we have to catch them all. We don't have a choice. It is a compulsion. Also, they got little crowns. Also, these are JConcepts green. This tire will, I'm almost positive, have the smallest contact patch that you've ever seen. So, what we're here to find out among other things. We're going to do it as a quick view. He's going to do 10 stations. It's a little bit of a dumb. How sticky is green? Because, honestly, I don't know. I think that point right there and this point right here, I think they can do a lot of... Oh, would you stop it? She's been doing that all morning. I think they can actually grip. That's... Oh, I lost his body for a minute. I think they might actually be able to grip. We're going to get some noises. Might not... I don't know, it might not be that bad. I think that these might actually grip. I think green is so good that it can elevate tires that either are not made for the job. In an imaginary, fantastical world that cannot exist, I want axial R35 tires molded in Vanquish Red and vice versa. Take a Vanquish Falcon Wild Peak in that super thin carcass, molded out of R35, and while you're at it, make me a canyon trail out of JConcepts green. A cut one. I want a canyon trail that looks just like this, but molded in this. Oh my God. That's lethal weaponry. Until then, we're going to take mud bog tires and try to drive them up rocks and see what happens. So I made the trip from shop to course, and God, those things look ridiculous. The whole time thinking, are we doing this? Are we scoring these on a sheet, 10 stations? We know that's not a rock crawling tire. And then I reminded myself, we've tested a lot of tires that are not rock crawling tires. And it's green. It's 1.9. Why not? Yeah, it's green. We're talking about, again, the smallest contact patch. We're talking very high PSI on these. Here, maneuver around right there. They have, and I don't think this will come as a surprise to anyone, a lot of chevron to the tread. They are a chevron tread, and as such, you can put them up against a little wall or obstacle and just get no forward movement because the little shape, they look like check marks to me. The little shape of the check mark will just slide off whatever you're trying to get up. Let me see. If we come across here, yeah. It's not taking anything away from baseline's ability to climb at all. I mean, okay. Green is just magic sauce formed into a shape, because any worries or fears I had have definitely been allayed, because this is going to beat other rock crawling tires. Allow me to rephrase. This is going to beat rock crawling tires. I kind of wanted to see what would happen if I cut throttle on the way down. Woo! Okay. Yeah, self-right? Mm-hmm. They do take... The turn circle's not quite as tight. This is untoward. That's what this is. This is a scathing indictment of a class of tires called crawler tires. Somebody's going to say cut the lugs down. No, I'm not going to ruin a perfectly good set of mud tires. I have in the bags JConcepts crawling tires. I'm not going to try to turn these into another crawling tire. Here's what I'm saying. you can rock crawl a bog hog. I feel like these need to be bad at something because they've already exhibited far too much forward drive on rock. Oh, good grief. It's making me kind of mad how good green is. I mean, we're into the triple digits. We've tested over 100 tires. There are tiny moments where you're like, oh, it's just like we get a little bit of micro hesitations. There's a little bit of shimmy, like in the rear end where we've got less weight pushing down on 8mm tall lugs. Or were they 10? No, they're 8mm. This is a dang old mud tire. It ought to not be able to do any of this. If anyone asks you, how important is compound in the performance of a tire, you just shuttle forward to this part and show them a JConcepts Fling King climbing up rocks. Compound is maybe everything. I'm going to go it's like 80-20. It's upsetting. It really is. Sidehilling really needs to be the heel of Achilles here because we're going to have a microscopic contact patch. Okay, it's getting a little squirrely. There's a little counter steer there. Getting a little light. Let's see. Okay, it's gonna over transfer, and God, I hope that it does. Please over transfer. Yeah, there we go. If these things had come out here and properly side-hilled, I'd have been like, what are we even doing? Yet I do think that because of the greenness, that's a low entry. See, that's it's literally the massive lugs folding over each other. Okay, now if I don't use any steering input here, will it stay together enough? Now, if I got to do this, I'm gonna reset out. I think there's a line that you could find and actually make it on these. The forward drive is stupid. It's categorically stupid. Side hill performance is honestly better than one would anticipate. See, the lug. So that much chevron on a lug is gonna suffer on a side hill, and when the chevron is that tall, see if it will hold or flop here. I mean, obviously, it's not the best side hilling tire we've ever seen, but it's way better than it ought to be. So while we might not know exactly how these are going to do on the remainder of the tests, we're pretty confident in saying that on a mixed surface, like say it got into loose dirt, yeah, these are going to mob, as the kids would say. I thought there was a moment there where I thought these were going to do it. Like, we're probably looking at about 40% throttle. Yeah, about a 40% pull. With authority, really. We can't quite pull at the super low throttle level but it kind of can. Yikes. Because there's so much, in terms of lug space versus negative space, a mud tire is going to have a lot of space between the lugs. This is a mud tire. It has a lot of space between the lugs. So those big, tall lugs are doing absolute work. You cannot let off throttle on a descent on these. They will absolutely just stop. Oh, that's okay. So we do a little mini bump, but some tires do have enough gusto to clean up onto, to take the L here, to clean up onto there without a little bump. I'm making a, you know, there's that meme where it's like, you know, he looks like he's Indian or somewhere in that region of Asia, and he's wearing like a vest, and he's got his hands on his hips, and he's making that face. That's the face I'm making right now, because this is utterly inexcusable. This is very much in the same vein of we do rear views on tires that you can't buy anymore because they got competition banned and or discontinued for monetary reasons. If you put out a tire, a rock crawling tire, and it's less good than a Fling King, for the love of God, what are you doing? How have you accomplished that? JConcepts Green. We're going to wax here for a minute. JConcepts Green was my favorite compound. Like, I think that it does everything just a little bit better. There are tires I wish were molded in this compound. Now, it's not even close. My first, second, and third favorite compounds are JConcepts Green. Because I came out here with a mindset of, okay, we're gonna do protocol scoring, but there will obviously have to be some interpolation involved because this is a mud tire that I think each tire has about 20 lugs on it, like 10 on each side. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 14. So there's like 28 lugs per tire. Let's go off of a basis of 28 lugs per tire. So we have 112 lugs total. When you cut and sipe a set of canyon trails, you cut like 400 pieces of the tires off. Yeah, it's more maneuverable than I thought it would be because the way that side lug works. Now, your results will obviously vary because I think the amount of caster we have, come on. The amount of caster we have here is doing a bit of heavy lifting because it's allowing the tire to kind of lean over sideways. I've heard somebody say that a huge amount of caster gain looks like a road grader, how they can get their front tires like leaned all the way over. I see that. I see that. We're not quite to road grader territory, but these do lean over quite a lot. So it's engaging a lot of the lug. It's the forward drive that's offensive, and the ability to hold a line, the maneuverability. These have more. I can hear a guy over a PA. It's like when you try to listen to an overhead announcement at a store and it's like, you can pick out like one word every once in a while. That's what it's like trying to listen to that. I mean, what? What are we doing? I don't know if I've ever been mad about a tire scoring as highly as I think that this one will, because, as I said, we know this thing's gonna just murder wet. We know that when we get it out on the dirt, it's gonna be even happier than it is on rocks. This shouldn't be happening. So why did they make the Fling King in green? Because they can. Absolutely no hesitation. No fallback at all. This is one of the most difficult to score tires that I've ever encountered. I mean, what? What? Can you do center cut like you're a class 3? We don't quite have the clearance. There's no collapse in the back. Injora silicone green and Fling Kings, both of which I got during the Black Friday extravaganza time of life. So you're looking at under 60 bucks of of tires and inserts right there. Forward drive. Oh my God! You gotta stop. This is dumb. Silicones do notoriously have quite a lot of energy return, like a lot. I don't have to give it much to really throw it around. Also, with the amount of chevron that it has, when you over bump, it gets real weird. But the thing is, it's green, and those big floppy foldable lugs, you go, it's like a 25% bump. You can get in between the lug pretty easily. You should flop over pretty easy, right? Or not. Remember what I said about the caster gain? You better not. You better don't. Dang it. This bump right here. This cyclone to wheels. Get it right there. I'm sorry. That's like a 9. That's a 9.8. Potentially a 9.9. You have to give it so little thrust. It is you basically flick your finger forward. Now, ordinarily what we do is we dock, because this lug likes this bump because the orientation of the lug. So when we try to bump the other way, I need to try the forward one more time. Yeah, it doesn't like the forward bump. It's so incredibly good at the rear bump. There's a definite chance these will be the best surface transition tires we've ever seen. And I'm almost sure that they are. I was ready to cut back. I was ready to give up on that. I was like, nah, it's not going to make it. Now, obviously, come on. We're here at the penultimate stop. You're not buying these for your carbon-railed comp crawler. Ugh, what a gross phrase. But is this the best trailing tire in the world? Because it's also, as I look down the scores, it's gonna beat it's gonna beat some tires that should be really upset about being beaten by a Fling King. Look at this. Just look. Look how low my level of throttle input is. That's disgusting. There are tires that should be ashamed of this. Does not side hill particularly well. Can't self-right under forward throttle. Gets a little wiggy in descent when weight transfers and the front lugs fold under. But can also do this. I don't even know. I don't know. I seldom have an idea of what we're doing, but right now, I really don't know what we're doing anymore. I've done the pre-math because we have one test left, and that is wet. It's also crazy to watch these as when you drive across open ground and the tires are moving at speed, because the lugs are so few and so far apart, they kind of just turn into a blur, and it looks like you're floating because the tire is barely the size of a Class 1. It just has, it's 104 millimeters with 16 millimeters of lugs on it. Wanted to see if I still agreed with myself about the forward drive number, and I kind of do. So wet test goes right here. I'm upset by all of this. Was I giving it points where I thought I should, where I now think I shouldn't have? No. No. It's genuinely upsetting. Yeah, it's green. All we did was clean those rocks off. You got a little, oh, that was a, okay, I saw it. There was a little slippy slide there. Get a little, need a couple revolutions through to make sure the lugs are all wetted down. The hardest side, I mean, obviously, this is JConcepts mud tire. It's an ultra mud tire. It's also, it's ridiculous. I just had to wait a solid minute for a very loud airplane to go by. Depending on how you want to score this, and I never know because I can't remember, the score on the card is a 96.7. which I think could be a 96.8. I docked it fairly big on Sidehill, bump, and I docked it an additional 10th on self-right because it can't do the forward self-right. It genuinely can't. So that lands it at a 96.7. 96.7 ties it with the Class 1 Scrambler, the Proline Aztec. Is the hunk there as well? No, the JConcepts hunk is a 96.6. What does that tell you? That's that low lug height. We had big scores, surface transition, wet, the maneuverability at Oblivion, and the performance at Daphne's Third. That was a nearly Class 3 level of performance at Daphne's Third. So this somehow... Oh, it just locked up. I have to open it in a new window. This puts it in the same category as basically Hunks, Deepwoods, right in there. JConcepts Landmine, RC 4-wheel drive Groundhog 2, Proline Aztec, JConcepts Hunk, JConcepts Scorpio. It's right in there in the mix, right above the Rhino Moza. I don't know why I feel like it shouldn't work. It was fairly... I gave it a 9.4 on the Sidehill. And you could probably go even lower if you were getting real strict about it. But I don't know how to quantify this. The card says 96.7, which is where it landed, which is right there with a couple of its JConcepts buddies. The Hunk, the Scorpio, and the Landmine are all right in that same area. So the losses that we get from a massive lug, and I'm trying to count them again. It's either 13 or 14 in pairs, so they're lugs per side. It's like they just took a straight chevron, cut them in half, and clocked them forward a little, is what they did. 96.7 for the JConcepts Fling King is a scathing condemnation of the Proline Crawler, G-Made MT1905, Rock Beasts, Interco IROX, Fossils, Baja Pro X, Yokohama G-Landers, Vanquish Wild Peaks, Proline Swampers. The Canyon Trail gets scored a 95.1. Now they do get better as they break in. And again, if nothing will indicate to you more, what I think now is 80-20. It's the Fling King crawling rocks when it has no right to do so. I think if you were to take those, if you're a Class 1 guy, you could take Fling Kings, shave the lugs almost all the way down to where there's just a little tiny bit of leg. Basically cut them down from where they are now to Class 1 size. Cut them down to like 106. They'd be outrageous. Not that I'm recommending that you do that. Unless it's a Black Friday sort of situation. You can buy Fling Kings for $18 a pair. In which case, hey man, go for it. One of the most difficult tires to score because it was like, it can't be doing these things. I would put a margin of error on a 96.7 score on this of like plus or minus 1. Like it could easily be a mid 95. It could easily get into the 97s. There's no vehicle optimization here at all. This is the de facto default Class 2 test rig baseline, an Enduro SE. And those tires, that, when you get into the terrain that the Fling King is kind of designed for, these are absurd. And the fact that they can bump onto rock and move around on rock just like they're moving around on dirt and muck, I don't know. Don't rule them out. If you see them on sale, pick up a set, I don't know. Is it recommended? I don't know. Is it Canyon certified? I don't know. I don't know what we're doing anymore. The Fling King beats rock crawling tires. The Rhino Moza is objectively not as good at rock crawling as the JConcepts Fling King. I'm just staring into the sky. I don't get it. If you get it or you don't get it, let me know in the comments below. Tune in for whatever happens to come next. And in between then, now and then, please one and all, do your very best to have a good one, everybody. We will see you again here from the canyon. I don't even have the energy to drive out a frame. We're just going to end it just like that.